That sounds like the chicken version. So anyway, Superman.
Superman.
With Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve. Is this the first... You could say it's the first superhero movie. I don't know if it's totally accurate. Like, there were film serials before.
It's the first, like, real official one, I think.
And there was, like, there were a movie about Zorro from the 1920s.
Yeah, but that's Zorro. That's not...
I mean, he's kind of a superhero. Like, he's like Batman.
Yeah.
He's, like, incredibly talented. And he fights crime like a costume, in a costume or whatever. But anyway, this is, like, the first... What most people would consider, like, the first...
Yeah.
modern superhero movie or whatever. 1978. It was directed by Richard Donner, although he was helped by...
Richard Lester.
Richard Lester.
The two Richards.
Yes.
The two dicks.
Yeah. And it cost a lot of money to make, and they went through tons of different people to cast, as they consider some really weird choices.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds? Like, Dustin Hoffman?
Dustin Hoffman is the weirdest, because he's little and not scary.
Al Pacino? Al Pacino's pretty weird. Christopher Walken? Like...
Yeah. I mean, Superman's not supposed to be scary, but when
he's supposed to be, like,
he's supposed to be tough, and when I think of Dustin Hoffman, he's like...
Yeah, he's like a funny, small guy.
Freaking out.
And what was the other weird one that I thought?
Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond?
Who's a singer.
It?
Another singer. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sylvester Stallone? Like, that'd be really weird.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, that's who it was. It wasn't a singer.
Was it like an athlete and not an actor? Like, I can see how he might have the physique. Also, I don't know how it would have gone over having a black guy play Superman in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against it, but I'm just saying that would have gone over weirdly, I think. What do you think of Superman?
I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I liked the effects and I liked the actors.
The effects were really good for the time period.
Yeah, and I liked that the effects were, like, real.
Sure.
It wasn't computery.
I mean, they really didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, but no, I like hero movies like that. Old ones, like Batman's like that, too, where things are real.
Marlon Brando is in it, and he plays Jor-El, Superman's dad. That was cool. He
did a really good job of making his voice not sound like Marlon Brando, because you know how he usually has that voice?
You mean the raspy,
kind of sibilant S a little bit?
Right.
Yeah. He didn't sound like that. He had like a kind of British accent. I thought he did a good job, because at first I didn't recognize him.
Things I didn't like about it, first off, 2.5 hours, a little bit long. Like, it felt like it should have, like, they were trying to go for, like, a TV movie kind of thing, where, like, you get lots of breaks in between or something. Because there were a lot of things that kind of were, like, not that important or didn't seem that big to me. Like, saving Lois Lane from a helicopter and then, like, saving Air Force One. Those were two different things, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like, why were they two different things? It could have been one thing.
Yeah.
And, like, even the thing about the Phantom Zone seems like it's setting up, like, they put up the criminals from Krypton into the Phantom Zone, which is basically like a prison sort of thing, and they don't never come back in this movie, and I know they will in Superman 2.
But it was a long setup for something that wasn't even in the
It's the first scene of the movie. You're like, oh, okay, so these are important characters, the people who first show up, and they're like, nope, never really. I think you see them when Superman is flying to Earth. They're like kind of there, and they're like, ooh, while he goes by them.
They're like, ooh.
Yeah, they're like ghosts. That's it. And it kind of feels like it's like a TV show, and you're like, oh, that's from episode 1 when you're watching episode 7 or something. Like, I don't know, it was really weird like that. Like, they were kind of going for like a serial episode kind of thing.
Yeah. I thought Lex Luthor was weird because he's like this big mastermind mean guy.
Yeah.
Bad guy. But like the first half of the movie when they're showing him, he's just funny. He's just silly and whimsical, and you don't think he's gonna do anything. And then finally at the end, it's like, oh my god.
And his like helpers are like
annoying.
No, but they're like incompetent, and it's like that kind of like that old like kind of Looney Tunes trope where it's like the guy he's like, what are we gonna do, Bowles?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, listen to me. we're gonna go to the blah blah blah, and then he's like, yeah, what are we gonna do that for, boss? Yeah. Like that kind of stupid, like I don't know, like that's kind of funny sometimes, but it really looked inappropriate.
It was jarring
against Superman.
Yeah.
And also he like kind of like he has no real motivation. He's just like his motivation is like money, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's gonna like I'm gonna bomb the shit out of the United States.
Yeah, he's like I'm gonna bomb California so that I can take over the
real estate. Like
yeah, it was
like that's just kind of random. Like and he keeps calling himself like a criminal mastermind. Like he's really campy in a way, but he's also really brutal. And it's like, that's not Lex Luthor to me. It doesn't seem like a good contrast to Superman.
No.
Like, Superman seems like such a proper, like, majestic hero, and he looked like kind of like an idiot who was fighting him.
He was Gene Hackman, though, right? Yeah. I like Gene Hackman.
I mean, I like Gene Hackman, but not really as Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I didn't really... I think they could have done that better.
Superman gained powers, like... When he was going down the building, he just, like, morphed into his Superman clothes.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't change, he just morphed into them, and that's weird. Like, that's not...
To save time.
I guess.
Yeah.
When they're flying, Lois Lane reads... Or no, doesn't read, but she recites a poem, like...
In her head.
I don't know if it's, like, she's looking back on it in the future and reciting a poem while it's happening, or...
I think it's supposed to be in her mind, and she's like, can you read my mind? And she's like thinking all this
But
stuff.
she's doing it in verse, like, like, is she just freestyling?
That was pretty cheesy. Like, I liked the visuals, and I thought it was sweet.
Can he read his term?
I don't think he could.
Okay.
I think it was
that was unclear to me.
It was just like a poetic, pretty part. And it was cute, but it was kind of cheesy, too.
It was really cheesy, because no one...
rhyming was...
Who comes up with a rhyming poem, like, while interacting with someone? You don't. You do not. Don't pretend. How, like, unscientific the whole ending is. Like, there's unscientific, and then there's, like, this. Like, this was really crazy.
What, turning back time?
Well, okay. First, that he went into, like, to correct the plates. Like, I don't know if that works. That seemed crazy. I don't know. Maybe that works if you're
went under the earth and pushed.
Yeah, to, like, stop an earthquake or something?
Yeah.
And this is, like, spoilers or whatever.
You guys should have seen this by now, except we didn't.
He saves, like, Lex Luthor throws his missile to, like, explode in California, and he, like, Superman spends his time saving all these people and, like, saving the Hoover Dam and saving all this stuff, and then he can't get to Lois Lane in time, and Lois Lane dies. So Superman flies out. This is really famous, and he, like, flies around the Earth really quickly, and the Earth is turning, and then it stops turning, and it starts turning backwards, which makes time go back. Ugh. So I don't... Okay. I think anyone knows that, like, I don't think it's, like, a matter of scientific understanding or not. I think past 5 years, you understand that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, which direction the Earth is spinning doesn't affect the passage of time. And not to mention, like, all the weirdness that, like, if you really did make the Earth stop spinning and spin the other way, like... I think that would, like, cause, like, real catastrophes and that kind of thing. Another thing is he doesn't make it start turning the right way, does he?
Again?
Maybe he does, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
He probably does, I guess.
But he goes back and he's like, hi, Lois.
Yeah, he goes back in time doing that, and he, like, saves Lois Lane, but does that mean he has to, like, save everyone else again? Or did he go back in time, like, before... the nuke was launched to save Lois Lane,
I think he did.
And then, like, get them before they launched the nuke. But if he did that, like, when was... She's, like,
driving.
She was driving, but by the time she was stuck driving, hadn't they already launched the nuke?
Because they were complaining about all the things, like, falling over and, oh, it's crazy, and the earthquakes and stuff. Yeah. They were complaining about that like it had happened.
So that makes no sense.
No, it's
like, not only is it, like, a cheap way of like, everything's fine, they just traveled 5 minutes in the past. Not only is it cheap, it just makes no sense. Yeah. And I know it's kind of iconic now, like, and people kind of think it's fun.
It is fun.
But I don't know, I still think it's pretty weak. Like, if you saw a movie that came out like that now, I think everyone would be like, that's really stupid. Like, I don't know, that's a really stupid ending.
I want to see the second one.
Yeah.
Superman 2.
Well, there's 2 cuts of Superman 2. There's the Richard Donner cut.
I want to see that.
And then there's the Richard Lester cut.
I want to see both, but...
Yeah. And
Donner first. Then Blitzen.
The Lester came out first.
Oh.
Yeah.
But Donner comes
Donner
before Lester.
didn't come out until like a few years ago, I think. Like in the past 10 years or something like that.
But it's probably better.
That's what I heard. Iron Man 3 or Superman? Which one do you like more?
You're always bringing these questions. I think Iron Man 3 was better. Like, especially the end. The end wasn't as what? You know?
Yeah.
Like, I like Christopher Reeve. I think he's great.
You know, yeah. Superman had, I think it's more because of the fact that it was the first.
Yeah.
Also has a really good score because it's John Williams.
Yeah.
And it has like really classic actors like Marlon Brando, for example.
That's cool, but the story, the plot was kind of...
It's not that great. I feel like they could have cut it better, and I feel like the ending could have been better.
Could have written it better.
It's still like, I think, really cool, especially for its time, but...
I liked it more than Iron Man 2.
Yeah, probably. I liked it more than Green Lantern.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's mean to Superman to even compare the two, really, because Green Lantern is not good.
You know when certain things are, like, not a big deal, but they strike you as, like, oh, that's bad writing? When in Superman, at the beginning, when they're in Krypton, and Jor-El is like, we're all gonna die, and, like, one of the other Kryptonian people is like, Jor-El, you're one of the greatest scientists of our land, but we disagree. Like, the only way to establish that he's a great scientist is for someone to be like, imagine if you really talk to people like that when you disagree with them, like, Sarah, you're one of my best friends, but I have to disagree. I would have fixed that. Yeah. Should have hired me in 1978. Anyway.
You weren't even... That's a long time before you were born.
Well, yeah, but I could have spun the Earth backwards then.
But you hadn't been born, how would you have spun the Earth?
No, I spin it now, so I go back. To go back.
Yeah, we should do that.
Sense.
Why don't we do that?
Alright, I'm gonna go do that.
We're gonna go spin the Earth.
Yep. Okay. Bye. I'm gonna go spin the Earth. Is it 1978 though?
No.
Oh.
You kind of just walked down the hallway and sang the Superman theme.
Oh. Oh.
Should we stop now?
Yeah.